When I was a kid, my mum used to take me and my brother to visit our great Uncle Louie's cabin up in northern Michigan. It sat near the edge of a pine forest, quiet and old with creaky floors and that musty smell of time. We only ever went in the summer, when the lake was warm enough to swim and the woods were full of dragonflies. Louie had passed years before I was born, but the cabin stayed in the family. My mom said she used to spend entire summers there as a teen, and Louie always made sure the generator worked and the pantry was stocked. She'd light up when she talked about him, said he was a little odd, but kind. The cabin wasn't creepy in the obvious sense. It was well kept, had lace curtains, old books, and faded rugs. But the back room, the one Louie had used as his workshop, was always colder than the rest of the house. No insulation, my mom said. But even on 90-degree days, it felt wrong to step inside. My brother and I weren't supposed to go in there. She didn't lock the door, just asked us not to. So, of course, we did. The first time I stepped inside, I felt it in my stomach. That quiet coil of tension, like something had just turned to look at me. But there was no one, just a desk, an old vise, dusty jars full of screws, and a rusting tackle box on the shelf. I told myself I was just being weird, that I spooked too easily. Later that night, I woke to the sound of pacing, heavy, deliberate steps across the back of the house. I froze, thinking maybe my mom had gotten up, but when I tiptoed to peek down the hall, her door was shut. My brother snored softly from the couch. Still, the steps went on. The next day I asked casually if she'd been up. She shook her head, sipped her coffee, and said, "That's just Louie checking the locks. He used to walk the place every night." I laughed, because that's what you do when you're uncomfortable. But I started noticing it more. The tap of boots on wood, the scent of pipe smoke curling through the screen door when no one was smoking. My brother swore he saw a shadow cross the kitchen, even though we were the only ones inside. The last summer we went up, everything changed. It was storming, one of those brutal Midwest thunderstorms that roll in with no warning. We were playing cards by lantern light when the wind knocked the back door open. My mom jumped up to close it but froze halfway down the hall. Her voice was quiet, calm. "Stay here." Of course, I didn't listen. I followed just far enough to see her standing at the workshop door. It was wide open, and inside, the light was on. That was impossible. The cabin didn't have wired electricity. The generator had died earlier that day. But the bulb above Louie's old workbench glowed a dull orange. Then it shattered. We heard it all the way from the hall, a crack like gunfire. Mum didn't flinch. She just stepped forward and said, "Enough. This is still my house." Later, she wouldn't explain what happened, only that Louie hadn't wanted to leave the cabin. That when he died, the coroner said he'd been sitting at that bench for nearly a full day before anyone found him. She said he loved that place more than anywhere else, that maybe he wasn't trying to scare us, just trying to stay close. We never went back after that summer, but sometimes, when I'm alone in my apartment, I smell pipe smoke, just faint, just enough. And I think of Uncle Louie, sitting at his bench, watching, not angry, not malicious, just waiting for someone to notice he's still around.